Alert! You won't believe this. Starmer just did a massive U-turn after legal threats, and it could change everything in UK politics. Stay tuned. Welcome to Power and Policy UK, your go-to source for the latest political twists, scandals, and breaking news shaping Britain today. Breaking news tonight. Shockwaves are rippling through Westminster as Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has just reversed course in a dramatic U-turn, triggered by mounting legal threats and political pressure from the opposition. What was once government policy is now cancelled, and critics are calling it a humiliating climb down for the Labour leadership. The move has left pundits, MPs, and millions of voters stunned, and we're breaking down exactly what happened, why it matters, and what comes next. Let's get right into it. Just hours ago, Downing Street confirmed that controversial plans to postpone local council elections across England have been abandoned after legal challenges and warnings that the government's intentions could be unlawful. Originally, ministers had sought to delay elections for some 30 councils, a change critics said would extend councillors' terms and potentially benefit the governing party. But after legal advice and action from Reform UK, the plan has now been scrapped. This isn't just another routine political shift. This is what legal analysts are calling a forced U-turn, brought on not by internal debate, but by the real threat of a court battle that the government clearly could not win. Reform UK, led by Nigel Farage, signalled its intent to take the case to court, arguing that meddling with election dates would undermine people's democratic rights. That threat changed everything. Downing Street sources admitted the legal risk was too great and that new legal advice made it unlawful to proceed, prompting Theresa May's successor, Sir Keir Starmer, to order a full reversal. Critics are now pointing out that this is just the latest U-turn from a government struggling to maintain control of its agenda. In fact, this administration has already walked back on several key policies in recent months, from welfare changes to business rate relief for pubs. To put this in political context, Starmer came into office promising stability and competence after years of turbulent governments. Instead, he now finds himself repeatedly retreating from policies under pressure, legal, public, or internal. And this latest reversal is particularly painful because it's tied to the core of democratic process, elections. Critics say losing ground on such a fundamental issue makes the government appear weak and reactive. Labour backbenchers are increasingly vocal, some warning that Starmer's leadership could be in jeopardy if this pattern continues. Pressure has been growing within the party for weeks over several controversies, not least the fallout from the appointment of Lord Peter Mandelson as ambassador to the United States, a decision now mired in scandal and opposition calls to resign. Commentators are framing this as a pivotal moment. One senior political analyst described the latest about-face as a litmus test for the government's legitimacy. They argue that the government's inability to stick with its own agenda without being dragged into court underscores how fragile its mandate has become. From the conservative benches, critics were quick to pounce. Members of the opposition labeled the decision a shameful climb down and a betrayal of voters' trust. Reform UK, meanwhile, has celebrated what it calls a victory for democracy, declaring that legal pressure was the only thing that forced Number 10 to reverse a plan that many saw as undemocratic. So what happens next? With local elections now back on the calendar and millions of voters gearing up to go to the polls in May, the government is scrambling to regain credibility. Analysts say this series of U-turns could reshape the political landscape, giving smaller parties, especially Reform UK and the Greens, a shot at picking up seats on the back of growing dissatisfaction. For Sir Keir Starmer, the clock is ticking. Support within his own party is fraying, legal challenges are mounting, and public trust is wobbling. The reversal on election postponement may have quelled one legal threat, but it has opened up a much wider conversation about leadership, accountability, and the future direction of British politics. Stay tuned as this story develops, because tonight's U-turn might just be the biggest political twist of the year, and you'll want to be here for every update. Thanks for watching Power and Policy UK. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the stories that matter in British politics.